First Contact and Rescue. Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Federation starship Horizon stood on the bridge, gazing at the swirling purple and green gases of the nebula before them. The ship had been tasked with mapping this unexplored region of space, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge further into the galaxy. "Captain, I'm detecting an anomalous energy signature," Lieutenant Raj Patel reported from his station. "It doesn't match any known patterns in our database." Sarah's interest peaked. "On screen, Lieutenant." The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a pulsing red dot amidst the cosmic clouds. As the horizon drew closer, the energy signature resolved into a small vessel of unfamiliar design. Its sleek, organic curves contrasted sharply with the angular efficiency of human ships. "Life signs?" Sarah asked, her voice taut with anticipation. Ray's fingers danced across his console. "One life form detected, Captain, but it's faint and fluctuating." Sarah didn't hesitate. "Prepare a rescue team. I'll lead it myself." Minutes later, Sarah stood in the Horizon's transporter room with her team, Dr. Emily Wong, the ship's chief medical officer, and Sergeant Mike Reeves, head of security. As the transporter beam enveloped them, Sarah felt the familiar tingle of her atoms being disassembled and reassembled. They materialized in a dimly lit corridor. The air was thick with an acrid, smoky scent, and sparks flew from damaged consoles. As they moved deeper into the ship, Sarah marveled at the alien technology surrounding them. Everything seemed to pulse with an inner light, as if the ship itself were alive. "Life sign detected ahead, Captain," Mike reported, his hand resting on his phaser. They rounded a corner and froze. Before them lay a figure unlike anything they had ever seen. Its body was covered in iridescent scales that shimmered even in the low light. A crest of feather-like appendages adorned its head, and its limbs were long and graceful. Dr. Wong rushed forward, her medical tricorder whirring. "It's alive, but barely. We need to get it back to the Horizon immediately." As Sarah moved to help, the alien's eyes fluttered open. They were a striking violet color, with vertical pupils that widened in what Sarah could only interpret as fear. The alien tried to speak, but only a weak chirp emerged. "It's okay," Sarah said softly, holding up her empty hands. "We're here to help." Whether it was her tone or some innate ability to sense intent, the alien seemed to relax slightly. It allowed them to move it onto a portable stretcher, though its gaze never left Sarah. Back on the Horizon, Dr. Wong worked tirelessly to stabilize the alien's condition. Sarah paced outside the med bay, her mind racing with the implications of this encounter. First contact with an intelligent alien species, it was the dream of every starship captain. Hours later, Dr. Wong emerged, looking exhausted but triumphant. "She's stable, Captain. And yes, I say she, if it's as far as I can tell. Our guest is female." Sarah's eyebrows rose. "She?" Dr. Wong nodded. "Her biology is fascinatingly complex. There are similarities to Earth reptiles, but also avian characteristics. And her neural patterns, they're off the charts. I think we're dealing with a highly intelligent species." "Can I see her?" Sarah asked. Briefly, Dr. Wong agreed. "She's still weak but conscious." Sarah entered the med bay, her heart pounding. The alien lay on a biobed, various monitors tracking her vital signs. As Sarah approached, those violet eyes locked onto her once again. To Sarah's amazement, the alien spoke. Her voice was melodic, with trills and clicks underlying the words. "I thank you," she said haltingly, as if testing out the language. Sarah's jaw dropped. "You speak English?" The alien's head crest rippled in what might have been amusement. "I learn quickly. Your doctor's computer, very helpful." "I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Federation starship Horizon," Sarah said, still marveling at this turn of events. "Can you tell me your name?" "I am Zaravex," the alien replied, "third princess of the Etherian Empire." Sarah's mind reeled. Not only had they made first contact, but they'd rescued royalty. "It's an honor to meet you, Princess Zaravek's. Can you tell us what happened to your ship?" Zaravek's crest flattened against her head, and her scales seemed to dim. "Attacked. Rebels who oppose. Alliance with other species. They sabotaged my ship. Left me to die." Sarah's fists clenched. The idea that anyone would try to kill this fascinating being over the prospect of peaceful contact with other species filled her with anger. "You're safe now, Princess. We'll do everything we can to help you." Zaravek's hand reached out, her long fingers gently grasping Sarah's. "You already have, Captain. You have given me hope." As Sarah looked into those alien yet expressive eyes, she felt a connection forming. Something told her that this encounter would change not just her life, but the course of human history. Unbeknownst to either of them, at that very moment, a rebel Etherian ship was picking up the Horizon's energy signature. Its captain, a scarred veteran named Kreftor, sneered as he recognized the disabled royal vessel. "So, the little princess found some help," he growled. "No matter. We'll destroy them all and prove once and for all that the Etherian Empire needs no one." As Kreftor's ship altered course to intercept the Horizon, the stage was set for a conflict that would test the limits of both human and Etherian resolve. In the days that followed, Zaravek's recovery progressed rapidly. The Etherian physiology, it seemed, was remarkably resilient. Sarah found herself spending more and more time with the alien princess, fascinated by her intelligence and the glimpses she offered into Etherian culture. "Our empire spans 3 star systems," Zaravek's explained one day as they shared a meal in the ship's mess hall. "The princess had taken a liking to Earth fruits, particularly strawberries. We have achieved great technological advancements, but some fear that we have become stagnant. That is why I volunteered for this diplomatic mission, to seek out new civilizations, new ideas." Sarah nodded, understanding all too well the drive to explore. "That's very similar to our own mission. The United Earth Federation believes that diversity makes us stronger. Each new perspective we encounter helps us grow." Zaravek's crest rippled in what Sarah had come to recognize as a smile. "It seems our peoples have much in common, Captain." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the bridge. "Captain, to the bridge immediately." Sarah excused herself and rushed to her post, Zaravek's following close behind. As they entered, Lieutenant Petel's face was grim. "Captain, we've detected an Etherian vessel on an intercept course. Its weapons are powered up and its shields are at maximum." Zaravek's hissed, her scales darkening. "It must be the rebels. They've come to finish what they started." Sarah's mind raced through their options. The Horizon was primarily a science vessel. While it had defensive capabilities, it wasn't built for prolonged combat. "Open a channel," she ordered. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the scarred visage of Kreftor. His eyes widened slightly at the sight of Zaravek standing proudly beside Sarah. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Federation Starship Horizon. We mean you no harm. Please state your intentions." Kreftor's laugh was harsh and grating. "My intentions, human, are to cleanse our empire of weaklings and traitors who would dilute our purity with alien filth. Stand aside, or be destroyed with them." Sarah felt Zaravek's tense beside her. Before she could respond, the princess stepped forward. "Kreftor, you dishonor yourself and all Etherians with your actions. These humans saved my life when you left me to die. They have shown more honor and courage than you could ever hope to possess." Kreftor's face contorted with rage. "Then you will die with them, little princess. All weapons, fire." The Horizon rocked as energy blasts impacted its shields. "Evasive maneuvers." Sarah shouted, "Return fire, target their weapon systems." What followed was a desperate battle. The Horizon darted and weaved, using the nebula's gas clouds for cover as it exchanged fire with the larger Etherian vessel. Sarah and her crew worked in perfect synchronization, their training and trust in each other allowing them to push the ship to its limits. Zara Vex proved to be an invaluable asset, her knowledge of Aetherian ship design helping them identify weak points in the enemy's defenses. "There," she cried, pointing to a specific area on the tactical display. "Their shield generator is vulnerable when they fire their main weapons. If you can hit it at the right moment." Sara nodded grimly. "Understood. Raj, calculate the timing. Mike, be ready to fire everything we've got on my mark." 10 seconds ticked by as they waited for the perfect moment. The horizon shuddered under another barrage, and warning lights flashed across multiple consoles. "Now," Sara commanded. A concentrated burst of phaser fire and photon torpedoes streaked across space, threading the needle between the enemy's weapon ports. There was a blinding flash as their shots found their mark, and suddenly the rebel ship was drifting, its main power offline. "We did it," Sara breathed, hardly daring to believe it. Zara Vex turned to her, violet eyes shining with admiration. "You did it, Captain. You and your remarkable crew." As the adrenaline of battle faded, Sara became acutely aware of how close the princess was standing. There was a charge in the air between them, an unspoken connection that had been growing since their first meeting. "Captain," Rage interrupted, his voice tinged with awe. "I'm detecting multiple ships dropping out of warp. They're Aetherian, ma'am." The view screen lit up with a dozen sleek Aetherian vessels, their designs even more impressive than Zara Vex's small diplomatic ship. A new face appeared on the screen, regal, with an ornate head crest that put Zara Vex's to shame. "I am Emperor Zor Vex of the Aetherian Empire," the figure announced. "It seems we owe you a great debt, Captain Chen. You have not only saved our daughter, but have helped us root out a dangerous rebel faction." Sara straightened, acutely aware of the historic nature of this moment. "We are honored to have been of assistance, Emperor Zor Vex. The United Earth Federation looks forward to establishing peaceful relations with your people." The Emperor nodded approvingly. "Indeed, I believe this encounter marks the beginning of a new era for both our civilizations." His gaze shifted to his daughter. "Zara Vex, you have shown great wisdom in your choice of allies. Perhaps it is time we reconsidered some of our more isolationist policies." As arrangements were made for formal diplomatic meetings, Sara felt a gentle touch on her arm. She turned to find Zara Vex looking at her with an expression that transcended species barriers. "Captain, Sara," the princess said softly, "I find myself reluctant to leave. There is still so much I wish to learn about your people, about you." Sara's heart raced. "I feel the same way, Zara Vex. Perhaps we could arrange a cultural exchange program. I'm sure both our peoples could benefit from extended interaction." Zara Vex's crest rippled in that now familiar smile. "I would like that very much, Sara. I believe our meeting was not mere chance, but destiny. Together, we can forge a bridge between our civilizations, and perhaps something more." As they stood side by side, human and Aetherian, Sara knew that the universe had just become a much more interesting place. The adventure was only beginning. Cosmic diplomacy and shadowy threats. The grand hall of the Aetherian Imperial Palace shimmered like the inside of an abalone shell, its iridescent walls reflecting the light of 3 moons visible through the crystalline dome above. Captain Sara Chen stood at attention, her United Earth Federation dress uniform a stark contrast to the flowing, scale-like garments of the Aetherian court. Beside her, Princess Zara Vex radiated an otherworldly beauty, her crest adorned with delicate jewels that caught the light with every movement. The past month of cultural exchange had been a whirlwind of discovery and growing connection between their two species. Emperor Zor Vex's voice boomed across the hall, drawing all eyes to the ornate throne. "Honored guests from Earth, we welcome you to the heart of the Aetherian Empire. Your bravery in saving our daughter and your openness to alliance have ushered in a new era of interstellar cooperation." Sara stepped forward, her voice clear and confident. "On behalf of the United Earth Federation, We are honored by your hospitality, Emperor Zorvex. We look forward to forging bonds of friendship that will benefit both our peoples for generations to come. As the formal speeches concluded, Sarah found herself swept into a dizzying array of conversations with Aetherian nobles and Earth diplomats. She caught glimpses of her crew similarly engaged, Dr. Wong deep in discussion with Aetherian geneticists, Sergeant Reeves comparing combat techniques with the Imperial Guard, and Lieutenant Patel marveling at holographic star charts with Aetherian navigators. Quite the spectacle, isn't it? A familiar voice trilled beside her. Sarah turned to find Zara Vex, a mischievous glint in her violet eyes. "It's incredible," Sarah admitted. "I never imagined I'd be at the center of such a momentous occasion." Zara Vex's crest rippled in amusement. "Oh, but the night is young, Captain. Come, there's something I must show you." The princess led Sarah through winding corridors, away from the bustle of the reception. They emerged onto a secluded balcony overlooking a bioluminescent garden. Floating orbs of light drifted lazily among exotic plants that pulsed with inner radiance. "This is breathtaking," Sarah whispered, leaning against the railing. Zara Vex moved closer, her scales shimmering in the soft light. "Sarah, there's something I need to tell you, something that could change everything." Before she could continue, a sharp crack echoed through the night. Sarah's military training kicked in instantly. She tackled Zara Vex to the ground as a high-energy blast scorched the spot where they had been standing. "Sniper!" Sarah yelled, reaching for her communicator. Security breach in the East Wing. Chaos erupted throughout the palace. As Imperial guards rushed to their position, Sarah caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure leaping between rooftops with inhuman agility. "Are you all right?" Sarah asked Zara Vex, helping her to her feet. The princess nodded, her crest flattened in distress. "Yes, thanks to you. But Sarah, this is what I feared. There are forces at work that don't want our peoples to unite." In the following days, security across the capital was heightened to unprecedented levels. The assassination attempt on Zara Vex had shaken both Aetherian and human leadership. As investigations proceeded, Sarah found herself in a series of tense meetings with Emperor Zor Vex and the highest-ranking Earth diplomats. This attack bears the hallmarks of the Void Consortium, General Kravzin, head of Imperial Security, reported grimly. A shadowy organization that has opposed the Empire's expansion for centuries. Ambassador Elena Rodriguez from Earth frowned. Could they have connections to human extremist groups? We've had reports of increased anti-alien sentiment in some fringe colonies. Sarah's mind raced, connecting dots. The weapon used in the attack, it wasn't purely Aetherian technology. Could we be looking at a collaboration between multiple species, all opposed to our alliance? Emperor Zorvex's crest darkened. "A troubling theory, Captain Chen, but one we must consider. This threat may be greater than we initially believed." As the meetings adjourned, Sarah found herself walking the palace grounds with Zara Vex. The princess had been uncharacteristically quiet since the attack. "Credit for your thoughts?" Sarah asked gently. Zara Vex sighed, her iridescent scales seeming to dim. "I fear we awakened something ancient and terrible, Sarah. There are legends among my people of a force that seeks to keep the galaxies divided, a power that feeds on conflict and isolation." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "You think this is more than just political maneuvering?" "I know how it sounds," Zara Vex said, frustration evident in her voice. "But there are ruins on distant moons, artifacts in our museums that hint at a cosmic cycle of unity and division. What if we're on the cusp of something that has happened before?" Before Sarah could respond, her communicator chirped urgently. "Captain Chen, report to the command center immediately. We have a situation." Minutes later, Sarah stood before a holographic display of Aetherian space. Red warning indicators blinked ominously at key strategic points. "We're detecting massive energy surges throughout the sector," Lieutenant Pato reported. "They're like nothing we've ever seen before." General Kravzin's face was grim. Our long-range sensors are picking up something emerging from subspace. Multiple somethings. The holographic display zoomed out, revealing a terrifying sight. Massive, otherworldly structures were appearing at the edges of Etherian territory. They defied easy description, part organic, part mechanical, and radiating an aura of ancient malevolence. By the cosmic egg, Emperor Zorvex breathed. The dividers, they were real. Sara turned to the Emperor, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her heart. The dividers, Your Majesty. Zorvex's eyes never left the holographic horrors before them. A myth, a Bujiman story told to hatchlings, an ancient force said to arise whenever multiple species draw too close together. They sow chaos, distrust, and war, keeping the galaxies divided and weak. Ambassador Rodriguez's face had gone pale. Why? What purpose could that possibly serve? It was Zara Vex who answered, her voice barely above a whisper. To prevent us from becoming strong enough to challenge them. United, we might uncover secrets they've kept hidden for eons. A tense silence fell over the command center. The weight of this revelation, that they faced not just physical threat, but an ancient cosmic force opposed to unity itself, was almost overwhelming. Sarah's mind raced through their options. The combined Etherian and Earth fleets were formidable, but against an enemy of unknown capabilities, victory was far from assured. They needed more allies, more knowledge. Your Majesty, Sarah said, an idea forming. You said these dividers arise to keep species apart. What if that's their weakness? What if the key to defeating them is to do the very thing they're trying to prevent? Zorvex's crest raised in interest. Go on, Captain. We need to reach out to every spacefaring race we know. Humans, Etherians, and beyond. Form the largest coalition the galaxy has ever seen. It's a risk, but if we can overcome our differences and truly unite. Ambassador Rodriguez nodded emphatically. We could turn their own purpose against them. Brilliant, Captain. Emperor Zorvex was silent for a long moment, his ancient eyes scanning the faces of those assembled. Finally, he spoke. It is ambitious, perhaps even foolhardy, but in the face of such a threat, bold action is required. He turned to Sarah, his gaze intense. Captain Chen, you have proven yourself a capable leader and a true friend to the Etherian people. I am entrusting you and my daughter with a vital mission. You will be our emissaries to the stars. Sarah's heart raced at the implications. A grand journey across the galaxy, seeking allies against an unimaginable foe. She turned to Zara Vex, seeing her own mix of fear and excitement mirrored in those alien eyes. Together? Sarah asked softly. Zara Vex's hand found hers, their fingers intertwining in a gesture that bridged their two species. Together, she agreed. As alarms blared and preparations for war began in earnest, Sarah and Zara Vex stood united. They faced a threat beyond anything they had imagined, but they also stood on the precipice of the greatest alliance the universe had ever known. The dividers sought to keep the galaxies separate and weak, but they had made one crucial mistake. In their efforts to drive wedges between species, they had given them a common enemy. And humanity, with its boundless determination and adaptability, was about to show the cosmos what could be achieved when differences were set aside in pursuit of a greater purpose. As the horizon prepared for its most important mission yet, Sarah couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. The road ahead would be fraught with danger, but with Zara Vex by her side and the combined will of multiple civilizations at their back, she believed that even the impossible could be overcome. The stage was set for an epic struggle that would determine the fate of not just two species, but of all life in the galaxy. The cosmic concord was about to be forged in the fires of adversity, and the universe would never be the same. Galactic alliance and quantum deception. The horizon streaked through the kaleidoscopic tunnel of hyperspace, its hull reinforced with a shimmering layer of Etherian bio-armor. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the swirling vortex ahead. Beside her, Princess Zara Vex's crest rippled with nervous energy. Approaching the Crimson Nebula, Captain Lieutenant Patel announced, "The Zorkath homeworld should be just beyond." Sarah nodded, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "Take us out of hyperspace, Lieutenant. Let's hope the Zorkath are in a welcoming mood." The ship decelerated smoothly, emerging into a star system bathed in the ruddy glow of the nebula. A massive ringed planet loomed before them, its surface a patchwork of chrome cities and verdant wilderness. "We're being hailed," Patel reported. "On screen," Sarah ordered. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that looked like a cross between an Earth octopus and a sentient supercomputer. Glowing tendrils writhed around a central cord, pulsed with complex data patterns. "Greetings, beings of flesh," the Zorkath's voice resonated directly in their minds. "We are Synaptic Collective 47 Beta. State your purpose for entering our space." Sarah stepped forward, her diplomatic training kicking in. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Federation, and this is Princess Zara Vex of the Eartharian Empire. We come seeking alliance against a threat that endangers all sentient life in the galaxy." The Zorkath's tendrils twirled in what might have been curiosity. "Intriguing. Our probability matrices have been detecting anomalous patterns in the cosmic background radiation. Perhaps your arrival is not coincidental." As Sarah and Zara Vex explained the situation, the Synaptic Collective's core pulsed with increasing intensity. "The dividers," it mused. "Yes, our deepest archives contain whispers of such a force. We had dismissed them as pre-singularity superstitions. Clearly, a re-evaluation is in order." Suddenly, alarms blared across the horizon's bridge. "Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace," Patel shouted. "Energy signatures match the divider constructs we encountered in Aetherian space." The view screen split, showing a terrifying armada of biomechanical horrors emerging from swirling vortexes. They resembled nothing so much as a nightmare fusion of starships and viruses, their surfaces crawling with malevolent energy. "It seems your enemies have followed you," the Zorkath observed calmly. "Fascinating. We will assist you. Preparing quantum entanglement defenses now." The space around the Zorkath homeworld shimmered as an energy field like nothing Sarai had ever seen before sprang into existence. The divider ships slammed into it, their forms seeming to blur and split as if viewed through a prism. What are they doing?" Zoravex asked, her scales paling. "They are shunting sections of the enemy fleet into parallel quantum realities," the Zorkath explained. "A most efficient form of defense, wouldn't you agree?" Sarah watched in awe as the divider fleet was literally torn apart across dimensions. But her relief was short-lived. A massive energy surge erupted from the lead divider ship, punching through the quantum field. "Evasive maneuvers," Sarah shouted as tendrils of entropic energy lashed out towards the horizon. The ship rocked violently as one of the tendrils grazed their shields. Sparks flew from consoles across the bridge. "Shields down to 60%, Pato reported. "Whatever that energy is, it's eating through our defenses like acid through paper." Sarah's mind raced. They were outgunned and facing technology far beyond their understanding. But then an idea struck her. "Zara Vex," she said urgently, "you once told me about Aetherian meditation techniques, about touching the underlying fabric of the universe. Could you use that to interface with the Zorkath's quantum systems?" The princess's eyes widened. I've never attempted anything like that, but yes, in theory, it might be possible." "Do it," Sarah ordered. She turned to the view screen. "Synaptic Collective, we're going to try something unconventional. Can you open a channel for Princess Zara Vex to directly interface with your quantum systems?" The Zorkath's tendrils waved in what might have been excitement. "A biological mind melding with our quantum network. The potential data from such an experiment is most alluring, we consent." What followed was unlike anything Sarah had ever witnessed. Zara Vex entered a trance-like state, her scales pulsing with otherworldly light. The Zorkath's energy fields seemed to reach out and envelop her. On the view screen, the divider ships began to behave erratically. Their coordinated attack faltered as they were bombarded with conflicting data from countless parallel realities. "It's working," Platel exclaimed. "The dividers are in disarray." Sarah didn't hesitate. "All weapons, fire at will. Target their command ship." The horizon unleashed a barrage of phaser fire and photon torpedoes, augmented by streams of exotic particles from the Zorkath defenses. The divider flagship shuddered under the assault, great rents appearing in its biomechanical hull. With a silent flash that seemed to ripple across dimensions, the divider command ship imploded. The remainder of the fleet, now leaderless, fell into chaos. Some ships crashed into each other, others vanished into quantum rifts, never to be seen again. As the last enemy ship disappeared, Zoravex collapsed. Sarah rushed to her side, cradling the princess gently. Did it work?" Zoravex asked weakly, her scales dim and her breathing labored. Sarah smiled, tears in her eyes. "It worked. You were amazing." The Zorkath's voice echoed in their minds. "Most impressive. The data gathered from this encounter will fuel our research for millennia. We would be honored to join your alliance against these dividers." In the days that followed, news of the victory at the Crimson Nebula spread rapidly. The horizon became a symbol of hope, proof that the dividers could be defeated through cooperation and the melding of diverse technologies and philosophies. As Zoravex recovered in the med bay, Sarah found herself spending every free moment by her side. The depth of her feelings for the Aetherian princess could no longer be denied. "You know," Sarah said softly, taking Zoravex's hand, "on Earth, we have a saying, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I think that's what we're creating here, a galactic alliance that's stronger together than any of us could be alone." Zoravex's crest rippled in a weak but genuine smile. "Among my people, there is a similar concept. We call it the harmony of stars. Perhaps our cultures are not so different after all." As they gazed at each other, the air between them charged with unspoken emotion, Sarah's communicator chirped. She reluctantly answered it, not taking her eyes off Zoravex. "Captain," Petal's excited voice came through, "you're going to want to see this. We're picking up transmissions from all over the galaxy. Dozens of species are pledging to join our alliance. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Sarah's heart soared. The cosmic concord was no longer just a dream, it was becoming reality. With Zoravex by her side and an unprecedented alliance at their back, she dared to hope that they might not only defeat the dividers, but usher in a new age of peace and discovery for all sentient life. As the horizon prepared to embark on the next leg of their journey, Sarah knew that the greatest challenges and the greatest rewards still lay ahead. The galaxy was watching, species were uniting, and the dividers were on the defensive. The battle for the future of the cosmos had only just begun. Quantum Crucible and the Cosmic Key. The horizon hung in orbit around Nexus Prime, an artificial megastructure that served as the newly established headquarters for the Cosmic Concord. The massive space station was a marvel of cooperative engineering, blending technologies and architectural styles from dozens of species. Captain Sarah Chen stood in the Grand Assembly Hall, surrounded by representatives from across the galaxy. The chamber was a riot of diverse forms, crystalline beings that shimmered with inner light, energy constructs that flickered in and out of phase, and creatures that defied easy description. "Order, delegates of the Concord," boomed the sonorous voice of Archmediator Sylvan, a being composed of swirling plasma contained within an ornate exosuit. "We have gathered to address the gravest threat our civilizations have ever faced. The dividers grow bolder, and our time grows short." Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady despite the weight of expectation. "Fellow sentients, the key to defeating the dividers lies not just in military might, but in understanding. Thanks to the combined efforts of human, Aetherian, Zorkath, and countless other scientists, we've made a breakthrough." She gestured, and a holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber. It showed a spiraling multidimensional structure that pulsed with otherworldly energy. This, Sarah continued, is what we're calling the cosmic keystone. Our research suggests it's the linchpin of reality itself, the nexus point where all dimensions intersect. We believe the dividers draw their power from it, using it to manipulate space-time and keep civilizations apart. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. A Volcrian philosopher king, his tendriled mind crown writhing with complex thoughts, spoke up. If this keystone is so fundamental to reality, tampering with it could have catastrophic consequences. The cure might be worse than the disease. Princess Zora of X, standing proudly at Sarah's side, addressed the concern. The risks are great, yes. But we've discovered something remarkable. The keystone responds to conscious thought, to the collective will of sentient beings. If enough of us join our minds in harmony, we might be able to reshape reality itself, sealing off the divider's access to its power. The chamber erupted in debate. Some delegates were intrigued by the possibility, others terrified of the potential consequences. As the arguments raged, Sarah felt a familiar presence brush against her mind. Captain Chen, the telepathic voice of Synaptic Collective 47 Beta, resonated in her thoughts. Our probability matrices suggest a 68.2% chance of success, but with a 31.8% chance of total universal collapse. The Zorkaf are willing to accept these odds. Are your flesh-based species prepared for such a gamble? Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Lieutenant Patel's voice crackled over the comms. Multiple divider fleets detected on approach. They found us. Chaos erupted in the assembly hall. Sarah's voice cut through the panic. This is what they fear. Our unity, our potential to surpass them. We must act now, or all is lost. As if in response to her words, a massive view screen activated, showing the space around Nexus Prime. The sight stole the breath from every being in the chamber. Divider ships blackened space as far as the eye could see. They were unlike anything encountered before, monstrous constructs that seemed to fold in on themselves, defying the laws of physics. Reality itself appeared to warp around them. They're preparing a massive reality-shredding weapon, Zora Vex announced, her scales pale with fear. If it hits us, it won't just destroy Nexus Prime. It could unravel the very fabric of our universe. Sarah's mind raced. There was only one option left. We need to reach the keystone, now. Impossible, Arch-Mediator Zilvan objected. Our greatest minds haven't even located it, let alone. I know where it is, Sarah interrupted, surprising even herself. She turned to Zora Vex, understanding dawning in both their eyes. We've always known, haven't we? Since that moment you interfaced with the Zorkaf quantum systems. Zora Vex nodded slowly. The harmony of stars. It's not just a concept. It's a place. A state of being. Sarah addressed the assembly. We don't have time to explain how, but Princess Zora Vex and I can lead a team to the keystone. The rest of you need to buy us time. Every ship, every weapon, every ounce of will, throw it all at the dividers. We only need a few minutes. As the delegates rushed to mobilize their forces, Sarah gathered a small team, herself, Zora Vex, Synaptic Collective 47 Beta, and a handful of the most mentally adept beings from various species. They made their way to a specially modified shuttle. As they prepared for launch, Sarah felt Zora Vex's hand slip into hers. Sarah, the princess said softly, her violet eyes shimmering with emotion. If this doesn't work, if we don't make it back. Sarah squeezed her hand. We'll make it. Together. The shuttle launched, streaking away from the chaos of battle surrounding Nexus Prime. Sarah and Zora Vex worked in perfect synchronization, guiding the ship based on instincts they couldn't fully explain. They plunged into a swirling quantum maelstrom, reality fracturing around them. The shuttle's hull groaned under the strain of forces beyond mortal comprehension. Suddenly, they emerged into nothing, and everything. They floated in a void that somehow contained all of existence. Distant galaxies swirled like motes of dust. Entire universes bloomed and died in the blink of an eye. And there, at the center of it all, pulsed the cosmic keystone. It defied description, a spiraling, multi-dimensional nexus of pure possibility. By the cosmic egg, Zara-Vex breathed. It's beautiful. As they approached the keystone, tendrils of energy reached out, enveloping their minds. Sarah felt herself stretching across realities, touching the consciousness of every being in the cosmic concord. Through this vast telepathic network, she sensed the desperate battle raging around Nexus Prime. The Divider's reality-shredding weapon was almost charged. "Now," Sarah cried, her voice echoing across dimensions. "Everyone, focus your will. Imagine a universe without division, without fear." A tidal wave of collective consciousness slammed into the keystone. Sarah and Zara-Vex stood at its heart, their minds and souls intertwined, acting as a conduit for the hopes and dreams of trillions. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a silent flash that resonated through every plane of existence, everything changed. Sarah opened her eyes, finding herself back on the bridge of the horizon. Zara-Vex stood beside her, their hands still clasped tightly. Did it work?" Lieutenant Potel asked, his voice filled with awe. On the view screen, they watched as the Divider ship simply faded away. Not destroyed, but gently erased from existence as if they had never been. "We did it," Sarah whispered, scarcely believing it herself. "We rewrote the fundamental laws of reality." As reports flooded in from across the galaxy, the true scope of their victory became clear. The Dividers were gone, yes, but that was only the beginning. The very nature of space-time had been altered. Planets that were once separated by vast gulfs of empty space now found themselves part of a vast, cosmic web of connections. Travel between star systems became as easy as stepping through a door. The exchange of knowledge and culture accelerated at an unprecedented rate. In the months that followed, Sarah and Zara-Vex became living symbols of the new cosmic order. Their love, a union between two species that had once been strangers, embodied the spirit of harmony that now permeated the universe. As they stood together on the observation deck of Nexus Prime, watching distant galaxies dance in newfound unity, Sarah turned to Zara-Vex. "You know," she said with a smile, "on Earth, we have an old saying, 'Love conquers all.' I never imagined it could be quite so literal." Zara-Vex's crest rippled with joy. "Perhaps that is the greatest lesson in all of this. That love, between individuals, between species, between all sentient life, is the most powerful force in the universe." As they sealed their words with a kiss that bridged galaxies, Sarah knew that their greatest adventure was just beginning. The cosmos lay open before them, full of wonders yet to be discovered and connections yet to be forged. The age of division was over. The era of cosmic harmony had begun, echoes of eternity and the multiversal nexus. The cosmic harmony had reigned for a millennium, ushering in an unprecedented era of peace, discovery, and interconnectedness across the galaxy. Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood on the bridge of the Infinitude, a ship that defied conventional understanding. It was less a vessel and more a living extension of thought, capable of traversing not just space, but the very fabric of reality itself. Beside her, Princess Zara-Vex, now Empress of the United Galactic Concordat, her scaled form shimmering with the wisdom of ages. Their bond, strengthened over centuries through a combination of advanced life extension technologies and the reality-altering aftermath of the cosmic keystone, had become legendary. "Anomaly detected," announced the ship's AI, its voice a harmonious blend of every language in the known universe. "Multiversal breach forming in Sector 42 Omega." Sarah and Zara-Vex exchanged a look of concern. They had encountered many wonders in their long lives, but a multiversal breach was unprecedented. On screen, Sarah commanded, The view screen flickered to life, showing a swirling vortex of impossible colors. At its heart, a shape began to form, a massive structure that seemed to be composed of fragments of countless realities. By the cosmic egg, Zara Vex breathed, her crest rippling with a mix of awe and trepidation. It's a multiversal nexus. As they watched, the nexus began to emit pulses of energy that rippled across the cosmos. With each pulse, subtle changes swept through their reality. Stars shifted positions, planets altered their orbits, and the very laws of physics seemed to flutter. "We're receiving a transmission," the AI announced. "Origin, unknown. Temporal signature, indeterminate." "Put it through," Sarah said, steeling herself for whatever might come next. A figure materialized on the bridge, a being of pure energy, constantly shifting and reforming. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Greetings, architects of harmony," the being said. "I am the curator, keeper of the multiversal archives. Your actions with the cosmic keystone have attracted the attention of forces beyond your comprehension." Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "We meant only to bring peace to our universe. If we've disturbed some greater balance, we—" The curator's form pulsed, cutting her off. "Balance? Oh, my dear Admiral, you've done far more than that. You've triggered a cascade of events across the multiverse. Realities are colliding, timelines are merging. The very foundations of existence are in flux." Zara Vex's scales darkened with concern. "Are you saying we've doomed all of reality?" "Doom? No," the curator replied, its tone impossible to read. "Change, yes. Evolution, perhaps. But the multiverse is at a tipping point. It requires stewardship." Understanding dawned on Sarah. "You want us to help manage this crisis?" The curator's form shimmered in what might have been approval. "Precisely. Your unique experiences, your bond that transcends species and realities, you are uniquely qualified to help guide the multiverse through this transition." Before Sarah or Zara Vex could respond, alarms blared across the infinitude. The view screen shifted, showing massive tears appearing in the fabric of space-time. Through these rifts, they caught glimpses of other realities, some eerily similar to their own, others wildly different. "Multiple incursions detected," the AI reported, dimensional barriers collapsing across all sectors. Sarah's mind raced, drawing on millennia of experience. "We need to stabilize the local space-time continuum. Zara Vex, can you use your connection to the cosmic keystone to reinforce our reality?" The Empress nodded, her form beginning to glow with otherworldly energy. As she focused her will, the nearby rifts began to shrink. "It's working," Sarah said, hope rising in her chest. "But it's not enough. There are too many breaches." The curator's form expanded, enveloping the bridge in a field of swirling energy. "I can grant you temporary access to the multiversal archives. With its knowledge, you may be able to find a solution." Suddenly, Sarah and Zara Vex found their minds flooded with information beyond mortal comprehension. They saw the birth and death of countless universes, the rise and fall of civilizations across dimensions, the intricate web of cause and effect that tied all of existence together. Through the overwhelming torrent of knowledge, a plan began to form. "The harmonic resonance matrix," Sarah gasped, the words feeling ancient and new at the same time. "If we can recalibrate the cosmic keystone to emit a multiversal harmonic frequency, we could stabilize the dimensional boundaries across all realities," Zara Vex finished, their thoughts perfectly in sync. They turned to the curator, who had been watching their epiphany with interest. It could work, the energy being conceded, but it would require a focal point, a nexus of sufficient power to channel the energy of every universe simultaneously. Sarah and Zara Vex shared a look of understanding. They both knew what needed to be done. "We'll do it," Sarah said, her voice filled with determination. "We'll become the focal point." The curator's form pulsed with what might have been surprise. "You understand what this means. You would become living conduits for the entire multiverse. Your individual consciousnesses would be. We understand, Zara Vex interrupted, taking Sarah's hand. We've lived long, full lives. If our final act can be to save all of existence, then so be it. As reality continued to fracture around them, Sarah and Zara Vex made their preparations. The Infinitude's engines hummed as it navigated the chaotic space between dimensions, heading towards the heart of the multiversal nexus. They stood together on the ship's observation deck, watching realities blur and merge outside. A lifetime of memories, their first meeting, the battle against the dividers, centuries of exploration and love, flashed before their eyes. Are you ready? Sarah asked softly, turning to the being who had been her partner across the ages. Zara Vex's crest rippled with a mix of emotions: love, fear, anticipation. With you, always. As the Infinitude approached the swirling heart of the multiversal nexus, Sarah and Zara Vex stepped onto a teleportation pad. Their forms began to glow with the combined energy of countless universes. Initiating transport, the AI announced. It has been an honor serving with you, Admiral, Empress. May your journey through eternity be filled with wonder. In a flash of light that rippled across dimensions, Sarah and Zara Vex vanished from the ship. They rematerialized at the very center of the multiversal nexus, their bodies transforming into beings of pure energy. As one, they reached out, their consciousnesses expanding to touch every corner of the multiverse. They felt the vibrations of every atom, the thoughts of every being, the pulse of every star. With a surge of will that transcended the very concept of effort, they activated the harmonic resonance matrix. Wave after wave of stabilizing energy radiated out from them, mending the tears in reality, reinforcing the boundaries between dimensions. Slowly, the chaos began to subside. Universes that had been colliding gently separated, timelines that had tangled smoothed themselves out. The multiverse shuddered and then settled into a new equilibrium. In the aftermath, as the last echoes of the harmonic resonance faded, something new emerged. At the heart of the multiversal nexus floated a being of indescribable beauty and complexity, the merged essence of Sarah Chen and Zara Vex, now transformed into a guardian of cosmic harmony. This new entity, which would come to be known as the Convergence, became a beacon of hope and wisdom for all sentient life across the multiverse. It stood as a living testament to the power of love, unity, and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to reach beyond the boundaries of their own existence. And so, the tale of a human soldier and an alien princess became the stuff of multiversal legend, a story of how two beings from different worlds came together to save not just their own reality, but all of existence itself. Their legacy would inspire countless civilizations across infinite dimensions, a reminder that even in the face of cosmic upheaval, love and harmony can prevail. As the Convergence settled into its new role, watching over the intricate dance of realities, a sense of peace and purpose permeated its being. The adventure that had begun with a chance encounter between two species had blossomed into something greater than either Sarah or Zara Vex could have ever imagined. The multiverse pulsed with new life, new possibilities, and at its heart, the eternal bond between a human and an Aetherian continued to grow, nurturing the very fabric of existence itself.